Hey up, mid up YouTube. Welcome back to another video with Rams fan YT. It has been an extremely stressful week for many reasons, mainly concerning European football, and you can see my video about that, which I made on Monday. But today is about a less successful club, is to be said, in the terms of history, but nobody should be anywhere based on merit on history. And Cardiff City are where they are because of what has previously happened. They shouldn't be in any Super League, but because of anything which they've won or something because of the past. No. This is purely just going to say about the facts, about the history of a club. Let's jump straight into it then. It was formed following a meeting at the home of lithographic artist Bartley Wilson in Cardiff in 1899, and it was formed as Riverside AFC. It was a way of keeping players from the Riverside Cricket Club together and in shape during the winter months. In their first season, they played friendlies against local sides at their Sophia Gardens ground. In 1900, they joined the Cardiff and District League for their first competitive season. When King Edward VII granted Cardiff City status in 1905, the club put in a request to the South Wales and Monmouthshire Football Association to change their name to Cardiff City. The request was initially turned down as they were deemed to not be playing at a high enough level to have that sort of name bestowed upon them. To enhance their standing, the team arranged to join the South Wales Amateur League in 1907. The following year, they were then granted permission to change the name of the club to Cardiff City. Although growing in stature, the club were forced to turn down the opportunity to join the newly formed second division of the Southern Football League due to a lack of facilities at their Sophia Gardens ground. Over the next 2 years, Cardiff played friendlies against some of Britain's top professional sides, including Middlesbrough, Bristol City and Crystal Palace. The matches were played at grounds in Cardiff and nearby towns so as to gauge the level of public interest in the team. The club eventually secured land to build their own stadium, called Ninian Park, which was completed in 1910. The club turned professional also the same year, and they made their first signing the following year with the acquisition of Jack Evans from fellow Welsh side Quin Park, I think that's how you pronounce it. With a new ground in place, Cardiff joined the Southern Football League second division and appointed their first manager, David McDougall, who became player manager. They went on to finish 4th place in their first year in the league. The board decided to replace McDougall with Fred Stewart, who had previous managerial experience with Stockport County. He set about adopting a more professional approach, signing several players with Football League experience, including brothers John and George Burton and Bill Hardy. Stewart led the team to promotion in his second season by winning the second division title. They remained in the first division for the next decade and finished in the top 4 on 2 occasions. In 1920, the club submitted a successful application to join the Football League and were placed into the second division for the 1920-21 season. Stewart brought in several players with Football League experience, breaking the club's transfer record on 2 occasions to sign Jimmy Gill and later Jimmy Blair from the Wednesday. They played their first match in the Football League on the 28th of August 1920, defeating Stockport County 5-2. The side finished the season in second place to win promotion to the first division. They finished behind Birmingham City on goal average and reached the semi-final of the FA Cup. In their third season in the top tier, the team finished runners-up to Huddersfield Town, all because of a goal average difference of 0.024. That is how narrow it is. And I'm amazed that we still don't talk about this today as being one of the greatest title charges of all time. It's just completely forgotten in history now. Cardiff drew their final match 0-0 as club record goal scorer Len Davis missed a penalty. The following season was the first time Cardiff appeared at Wembley Stadium, having reached their first FA Cup final. The team, however, lost 1-0 to Sheffield United following a goal from England international Fred Tunstall. The 1926-27 season, when they finished in 14th position, was Cardiff's worst performance in the top tier of English football since winning promotion 6 seasons before. However, they reached their second FA Cup final in the space of 2 years. On St George's Day, which is the 23rd of April 1927, at Wembley Stadium in London, Cardiff became the only non-English side to win the FA Cup by defeating Arsenal 1-0 in the final. Hughie Ferguson scored the only goal of the game in the 74th minute. He received the ball from Ernie Curtis and hurried a tame shot towards the goal. Dan Lewis, the Arsenal goalkeeper, allowed the shot to slip through his grasp and knocked the ball into the net with his elbow. Captain Fred Keener received the FA Cup trophy at the end of the match from King George V, only 7 years after Cardiff City had entered the Football League. When the team returned to Cardiff the next day, a crowd of around 150,000 people lined the street to welcome them. The side also won the Welsh Cup in 1927, where they defeated Real 2-0. They went on to win the FA Charity Shield after beating amateur side the Corinthians 2-1 at Stamford Bridge. The club entered a period of decline after their cup success, and they were relegated from the First Division in the 1928-29 season, despite conceding fewer goals than any other side in the division. They suffered a second relegation 2 years later, dropping into the Third Division South for the first time since they joined the Football League. During their first season in the division, Cardiff recorded their biggest ever win when they beat Thames by the scoreline of 9-2. Is that club even still in existence? No, it's not in existence. Okay. They finished the 1932-33 season in 19th place, resulting in manager Fred Stewart tendering his resignation from his post after 22 years in charge. It's ridiculous. You don't get that anymore, do you? Club founder Bartley Wilson stepped in to replace Stewart, and results continued to be disappointing. And in March 1934, Ben Watts-Jones was given the opportunity to manage the club he had supported as a youngster. He was unable to turn the team's fortunes around, and they finished the season at the bottom of the table and had to apply for re-election to the league. Watts-Jones remained in charge for another 3 years until Bill Jennings had replaced him. Cardiff remained in the Third Division South until the Football League was suspended following the outbreak of World War II. In their first season since the resumption of the Football League, under new manager Billy McCandless, Cardiff finished in the 1946-47 season as champions of the Third Division South and returned to the Second Division. McCandless left the club soon after and was replaced by Cyril Spears, who led the side to promotion in the 1951-52 season. Cardiff returned to the top tier of English football for the first time in 22 years and stayed there for 5 seasons. They were relegated afterwards in 1957 after struggling in the bottom half of the table for 3 seasons. They returned to the First Division for 2 seasons between 1960 and 1962 before they were again relegated. During the 1960s, Cardiff participated in European competition for the first time as a result of winning the Welsh Cup, which granted qualification to the newly created European Cup Winners' Cup. Their first ever match in European competition was in the tournament during the 1964-65 season against Danish side Esbjerg FB. The team won 1-0 on aggregate over the 2 legs, and the only goal being scored was by Peter King. They went on to reach the quarterfinals before being knocked out by Real Zaragoza. Despite their exploits in Europe, however, the team still struggled in league competition under the stewardship of Jimmy Scooter, who finishing in 20th position in the Second Division. 2 years later, the team reached the semi-final of the Cup Winners' Cup after victories over Shamrock Rovers, NAC Breda, and Torpedo Moscow set up a tie with German side Hamburg, whose squad contained several German internationals. This remains the furthest any Welsh side has advanced in European competition. After a 1-1 draw in the first leg, over 43,000 fans turned up at Ninian Park to watch Hamburg win 3-2. During the 1970-71 season, Cardiff reached the quarter-finals of a Cup Winners' Cup, where they faced Spanish side Real Madrid. The first leg of the tie was held at Ninian Park, where 47,000 fans watched one of the most significant victories in Cardiff's history, when Brian Clark headed in to give Cardiff a 1-0 win. They were later eliminated after losing the second leg 2-0, much like Derby did in later years. The team remained in the second division for 19 of the 20 seasons between 1962 and 1982, having been relegated to the third division for the 1975-76 season. Cardiff were continuously in the lower two divisions of the Football League between 1985 and 1993. The club appointed several managers in attempts to turn the team's performances around with limited success. They were relegated to the fourth division once in the 1985-86 season, and despite returning to the third division on 2 occasions, they finished in their lowest ever league position in 1996, where they finished 22nd of 24 in Division 3. In 1995, Cardiff and other Welsh clubs competing in the English leagues were banned from entering the Welsh Cup by the Football Association of Wales after pressure from UEFA, who did not want teams playing in 2 national cup competitions. Their final match in the competition was a 2-1 defeat to Wrexham in the 1995 final. In August 2000, Lebanese businessman Sam Hammerman, don't know how you pronounce that, sorry, purchased control of the club and replaced Steve Borley as a chairman. Shortly after taking over, he controversially pledged to get the entire Welsh nation to support Cardiff by renaming the club the Cardiff Celts and changing the club colours to green, red and white. You know it's going to go wrong when something like this comes in. It's happened to Hull, and it's in the past happened to Cardiff as well. After lengthy talks with senior players and fans, he decided the best policy was probably not to change the name of the club. The club crest was redesigned, and the new design did incorporate the Cardiff City blue bird in front of a flag of St. David, and featured the club's nickname superimposed at the top of the crest. Hammam funded the transfers of several new players to the club, and new manager Lenny Lawrence guided Cardiff to promotion when they won the second division playoff in 2003 against Queen's Park Rangers. Substitute Andy Campbell came off the bench to score the only goal in extra time and ensure Cardiff's return to Division 1 after an 18-year absence. The club experienced increasing financial difficulties over the next 2 years, and plans for a new stadium failed to gain approval from Cardiff Council because of concerns over financial security in 2006. Hammam then agreed to a takeover by a consortium led by new chairman Peter Ridsdale and the lead developer of the new stadium, Paul Guy. During the 2007-8 season, Cardiff reached the semi-final of the FA Cup for the first time in 81 years after beating Middlesbrough 2-0 on the 9th of March 2008. After coming through their semi-final against Barnsley with a 1-0 win at Wembley Stadium on the 6th of April, with a goal from later Derby player Joe Ledley, they eventually lost 1-0 to Portsmouth in the final. In May 2010, Datuk Chan Tien Gee took over as club chairman following a takeover bid by Malaysian consortium. Vincent Tan also invested and joined the board. Tan later became the Cardiff's majority stakeholder after buying out several other directors and acquired around 82% of the club's shares. In 2011, the club appointed Malky Mackay as manager, and he took the side to the League Cup final for the first time in the club's history during his first season. The following season, Cardiff won the 2012-13 Championship title, and with it gained promotion to the top tier of English football for the first time after 52 years. On the 18th of August 2013, Cardiff played their first ever away Premier League match against West Ham United, which they lost 2-0. Cardiff won only 3 games in the first half of the season, and on the 27th of December 2013, Mackay was sacked by Vincent Tan and replaced by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Despite the change in management, Cardiff were relegated to the Championship after a single season following a 3-0 away defeat to Newcastle United. Solskjaer himself was sacked on the 18th of September 2014 after a disappointing start to the following Championship season and replaced by Leyton Orient manager Russell Slade. In October 2016, Neil Warnock was appointed first-team manager of Cardiff. Warnock took over the team with Cardiff second from the bottom of the table after 2 wins from 11 games and guided the side to a 12th place finish after a good run of form. The start of the 2017-18 season saw Cardiff break a club record by winning their opening 3 league games of the season, the first time in the club's 107 professional history. They proceeded to clinch promotion to the Premier League after finishing second in the table. However, they were relegated back to the Championship after a single season. Warnock resigned as manager in November 2019, following a poor start to the season and was replaced by Neil Harris. Harris guided Cardiff to 5th place finish before suffering a defeat in the Championship playoff semi-final. After a run of 6 straight defeats, Harris was sacked on the 21st of January 2021. His replacement, Mick McCarthy, was appointed the following day. It's sort of tapered off a bit now, and there don't really have much aspiration coming into the season. They haven't reached the playoffs, but there's definitely room in the future. Thank you very much for watching this video. I actually went to Cardiff last week, and it was a very beautiful city. And I saw the stadium as well from a distance. Coming up, I've got the best football player of all time at the Premier League clubs, and remember we have to do Championship ones. And then the history of your club will be the history of Coventry City, a massive tumultuous club over the history from FA Cup winning in like 1986 to protests outside concerning the hedge fund Se2 who own them. And I know there's a lot of Coventry City fans who are subscribed to me, so be sure to stick around.